Hey guys, it's Pete with Crunch Time Coaching, and the second round is in the books for both Novak Djokovic and Rafa Nadal. So I want you guys to weigh in, and I'm going to weigh in as well on who do you think is playing better, Novak or Rafa, in the early rounds of the French Open, and are you getting anything out of it? Are you getting any kind of feel for who you think is going to win if these two titans are going to match up against each other? It certainly has been tough to figure out, who's playing the best. I did think earlier in the clay court season that Rafa was just going to have a cakewalk and win the French Open, but I changed my mind once Novak picked up Andre Agassi. I think that's going to be a big difference maker. But both these guys right now are just playing lights out tennis. And Rafa seems to have the it factor back to where he just looks unstoppable. He's got his mojo back, right? He's got all that. Just when you're watching him play, he looks invincible again, which is so cool to see him get this back at age 31. And I know that people have written him off a little bit over the last couple of years and saying he's lost a step, and people are getting used to his heavy topspin. This ball is landing too short and all that kind of stuff. And he just looks fierce out there. I would say out of everybody in the tournament, even over Novak, he's got the it factor going. You can just tell by the way he's walking. He's just got that presence about him right now that he looks like he's going to win this whole thing. And it's interesting too, because his defense looks great, but he's playing offense by playing like great defense. His ball just looks very heavy again. He's got that action on the ball again, which is just looks like it's just kicking up so fierce. He just looks so strong out there again. Where I would say a year or two ago, he started to look tired out there. He started to look a step behind everything. Now he looks a step ahead of everything. He looks strong. He looks like he's just delivering just one big blow after the next to his opponents, and they really just don't know what to do with his ball again. So all the magic is back on his shots. And then you look at Novak, and the cool thing about watching Novak is I think he's really preparing nicely if he's going to play against Rafa. It looks to me that there is already the influence of Andre Agassi in his corner. Besides all the mental stuff, I think they have had big talks about court positioning. One thing that I noticed about Novak is when he's kind of gone on a mini slump. You know, it really hasn't been as bad as many people have made it out, in my opinion. He hasn't played that bad this year. He just hasn't had the results that we're used to seeing. And so I think what they have talked a lot about is staying closer to the baseline. I think in the past 6 months, Novak has become, and we know that Rafa has gone through this. We know that Andy Murray's gone through this. Roger Federer doesn't seem to go through this too much, but we know that they tend to drop off the baseline and play more a defensive style of play, that they like to do that. They get comfortable with that. And Novak was falling into that, and people were pushing him around the court too much. Every highlight I watch, he's really making an effort to stand inside the court, get inside the baseline the same way Andre did. And it looks like he's being able to control the middle of the court. And this will be interesting to see if he's going to continue to play this way throughout the whole tournament. And if he gets on the court against Rafa, is he going to keep the same tactic up, and will he be able to do it? I think if you're going to beat Rafa on the clay, you have to not let Rafa push you around. You have to be able to stay close to the baseline, also play consistent, but not let Rafa's ball push you around, and be able to redirect all that heavy spin. That's one of the things that Novak, when he has been able to get the better of Rafa. He's been able to take a lot of Rafa's balls that are kicking up and redirect them and get Rafa running and out of position. And one of the things that I thought was a big difference between the two is that they're both very consistent, but Novak started to figure out how to hit winners and flatten the ball out more than Rafa was, who was just spinning everything. So it'll be very interesting to see. But when I do look at the two players, and maybe I'm just seeing things that aren't there, Rafa looks just stronger physically. Novak looks like he's in good shape, but he almost looks too thin up top. And I'm wondering that if they get into this matchup, that if that's going to play a factor, if his upper body is going to be strong enough to handle all of Rafa's spin. You know, who's going to be physically stronger, I think, is going to be a big factor on who will win that match. Who's going to be able to impose their physical will more in that match? It's going to come down to that, and who's going to move just a little bit better, who's going to recover after long points. Obviously, Rafa, throughout his whole career, that's been a huge strength of his, and that's been a big reason why he has 9 French Opens, is he's able to run down balls that other people just can't get to. He wins those duels that could just go back and forth, and then he's ready to play the next point. And he gets to that one last shot and hits that one last winner. And what started to happen there in these last couple of years, even on clay, when they started to play, and no one had ever been able to do this to Rafa before, but Novak started to win the longer points. Novak would hit the winner. Novak would get to that one more ball that Rafa couldn't get to. He started to do all the things that Rafa did to everybody, and he did it pretty convincingly. And that's what the match is going to come down to, is who is going to be physically stronger, who's going to get to that one last ball, who's going to be able to hit just a little more winners than the other person. It's not, I don't think these people are going to be hitting winners back and forth all over each other. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be very physical. And I think who is going to be stronger in all those departments, that's going to be who wins the match. And I think it's good that Novak has Andre in his corner, but Rafa has that it factor going, guys. He looks very, very strong, and I think that Novak looks a little too thin. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. I think he needs to just bulk up a tiny bit, which maybe Andre can talk to him about that too, because Andre, he got very, very heavy into the weights in his career and got very strong. His trainer was Gil Reyes, and I know that you know, they believed in the weights and lifted a little more heavy, where Novak is very much into the flexibility of it all. I mean, that's the big difference. Is Novak's so flexible and so nimble, and Agassi was stronger and bigger, and I think that if Novak can just bulk up a little bit, I think that's going to help him too. He looks a little too thin out there. And I'm wondering if Rafa is going to take advantage of that and beat Novak up a little bit in the match. They certainly look like they could play each other in this tournament, and it would be an amazing match. I think they're the two best, you know, right now. I know Novak has had a tough year, but I think you're going to have to look at, obviously, Rafa, Novak, Thiem, and it'll be interesting to see if Wawrinka really comes alive. Those, to me, are the 4 favorites to do something. I'd put Thiem as a dark horse. So let me know what you guys think out there. That's just my opinion on this French Open, and I appreciate your time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back. This is going to be a very, very fun and interesting French Open. We'll be following it every step of the way, and definitely love to hear your guys' opinion as well.